I'm Bruce Apar, and you're watching Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog. Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog is brought to you by Chase Media Group, provider of multimedia marketing solutions for an omni-channel marketplace. And we always thank our CEO, Carla Chase, and our Chief Strategy Officer and my sometimes co-host, Frank J. Rich, for bringing us into your screen, wherever that may be, whether it's on cable or on YouTube. And we're going to be talking about YouTube today, in fact, and probably telling you some things you may not know about it. And we always like to bring on the show people who are doing things in the community and beyond the immediate community where you live that we think you should know about. They're making unique contributions and are doing some things that maybe you yourself would want to get involved with, or contact them for further information, and we always provide their contact information for that purpose. And so I want to welcome our guest, David Vogel, who is the president and co-founder of Video SEO Pro, and we'll be explaining what all that means in just a couple of seconds, David. But suffice it to say, video is just getting bigger and bigger, I mean, by the second, really. I mean, people are watching this either on regular TV or on YouTube, which is video. And there was a recent extremely unfortunate and very controversial incident that we were talking about, really magnifies and underscores the profound influence video has on our lives, right? And that would be again, a very unfortunate incident with the football player, Ray Rice, and basically a case of domestic abuse. But the point is that video has been played just umpteen times on TV and YouTube, and it really, as you I know you want to talk about how it's affected him.
Well, yes. I mean, the thing that demonstrates very powerfully is how much of an impact video can have, both in a positive sense and in this case a negative sense, where it has changed Ray Rice's life for the unforeseeable future. It's cost him millions of dollars. It's potentially tarnished the reputation of the NFL. And purely because there happened to be a camera in one place where this incident took place. And it just shows you, plus that there are, not to stress that there are cameras everywhere today, but the fact that video...
But by the way, there are.
There are. We're in front of three of them right now.
Yeah, right.
The fact that video is a very convincing and compelling piece of content.
Right.
And we're going to be talking about today how you can leverage that for a business for good and growing your business. So.
Right, and how, again, 180 degrees away from that particular example, how it can be used for constructive and productive purposes.
Absolutely.
And so one of the expressions that pops into my mind anyhow is a picture is worth 1,000 words. We've all heard that one. But that really refers, because it's an old expression, it refers to a still picture.
Absolutely.
So what do so what is, for pictures 1,000 words, what's a video?
A video actually is worth 1,000,000 words. And that's pretty
Okay.
pretty astounding. And video is very compelling. It's a visual format. It has audio, and we respond very powerfully to video. It's retained much stronger than any other form of media.
Right.
And you can get more information across in a very short period of time through video.
And so let's just talk for a little bit, or let you talk. What's your background in video? How have you come to this point?
Sure. Well, I've been in the film industry and TV for over 25 years. I started back in the early 90s. I moved to Hollywood, as everyone did, the big dream.
Right.
I saw Star Wars as a child in the 70s and was drawn to special effects and knew that's what my calling was. And so I moved to Hollywood and fortunately had the opportunity to work at a post-production facility, a special effects house called Apogee.
Right.
Which was run by John Dykstra, who you know as well.
I met at that, in that era, yeah.
And they were actually, the site of Apogee was where Star Wars was filmed, and
Right.
I had the privilege of actually working with a dozen or so folks who worked on the original Star Wars, which was just a dream come true for me. And after a period of time, I left and returned back to New York and continued in production, working in the film industry here in New York, TV commercials, music videos, feature films, documentaries, and then had the opportunity when the industry went digital,
Right.
which wasn't for quite some time. There was a lot of resistance to that, but when it did digital, I wanted to get back into special effects and ended up working for over 15 years for a post-production house in New York called Charlex, which is known, has a reputation for doing very high-end special effects-based TV commercials.
Can you actually name just a couple of the commercials that they
Sure.
did?
They've done, well, Kodak and Federal Express,
Okay, right.
Verizon, all the Verizon spots you're familiar with the phones that are actually 3D. They're not actually filmed anymore.
Right.
IBM, all, blue chip firms.
Right.
Firms we all know, a lot of pharmaceutical. I worked on some Charmin commercials.
Right.
I had an opportunity to work on an American Express commercial with Tiger Woods.
Oh, wow.
Made him actually get a ball in the hole, which he's, so that was kind of fun. But they're very well-known national brands that they do commercials for.
And I know, from also having been in that world on the journalism side of things, that there are people like who do what you did, at Charlex, who go on to make movies, right? I mean, Spike Jonze, the director Spike Jonze,
Sure.
who his recent movie is Her. He's an example of somebody who was a commercial director and went on to make movies. But my point there is that commercials really are mini movies, right?
They
I
are.
mean,
They all tell a story.
Right.
The whole idea, whether you're talking about a TV commercial in 30 seconds,
Right.
or a sitcom in 30 minutes,
Right.
or a feature film, it's all to tell a story. It has a
Right.
beginning, a middle, and an end, and you want to touch people get their feelings, get emotion created
Right.
in that, and so
And
that's
so-
what you can do.
Yeah, and so the difference now, or the additional value, you might say, that's being incorporated into video is the distribution of it and how it reaches people. Not only in what we would call primary distribution is one person is sending the video out to another person. And then you have now the sharing, which just totally multiplies it to an exponential number, how many people see that same video. And so I know there are a lot of statistics that you've come up with, you've found, that really speak to the influence that video has on people's behavior. And so in terms of how videos come up, let's say, on the internet, or when somebody is searching for, let's say, a happy hour. I mean, I recently typed in Westchester County happy hour. And so people usually will go to Google for that, right?
Yes.
And I know you like to say in the workshops that you do, that I've attended, if Google is the #1 search engine, you always ask people,
What is the #2 search engine? And many people think that it might be Yahoo or Bing, but they don't realize that actually YouTube is the #2 search engine, right behind Google, and it also happens to be owned by Google.
Right.
And so what's happening today, because Google owns YouTube, and because all the search engines where you're talking about Bing or Yahoo put greater emphasis and greater interest in rich media like video, that videos are now showing up in the organic search results when you're searching for a product or service locally.
Right. And so it's also true, again, just part of human nature in the digital age. So like when I use my example, so I'll get Westchester happy hours and the first page comes up. Now, I never went past the first page.
That's right.
And is that what most people do?
That is a very strong statistic associated with that, that actually 91% of the people who are searching online and are looking at that first page results, 91% of them never go past the first page. So if you have a business and you have a great website and your business isn't found on that first page of organic search, then it's like your business doesn't exist. And that's really the change in the paradigm as it relates to marketing or advertising for a small business today. Because as you know, the yellow pages was what everyone relied on years ago. And when was the last time one of us has used the yellow pages to look for a product or service of a local business? And so the internet has become that medium because of the internet, because of smartphones, because of YouTube, because of Google. It's the way that we operate now. We have less time to do what we need to do. And so it's a great alternative for people to use the internet and to use search and for videos to be a very powerful component of that.
So your happy hour that I'm looking for, let's say, could come up without a video on the first page. But now let's say it does have a video.
So let's say there is a bar located in Westchester County and they're trying to get more reach, they're trying to get more customers in. They could invest in video, not only for the benefit of their website and help conversion on their website of people when they're on the website, but they can actually do what's called search engine optimization to a piece of video.
Which is, by the way, is part of your name, Video SEO Pro.
Exactly.
Right.
So the unique thing about Video SEO Pro is that we're marrying video content with search engine optimization. Not only creating video, but how to leverage it and get it found in a variety of platforms besides organic search. But as it relates to organic search, if someone was looking for a bar and they looked at that first page results and there was a video there, and most people, if they see that little thumbnail, they're going to click on it. They can't help it. We all love video. That's why YouTube's the #1 search engine and why it has millions upon millions. Oh, sorry, #2. Thank you. Someday #1.
I don't want Google to get mad at us.
Yeah, absolutely. But the point is, if you were to click on that video and you were to get a sense of what that bar is like and people having fun and people sharing maybe their experience, would you be more apt to maybe try that bar as opposed to the ones that just have links?
Right, absolutely.
So that's really where the power is.
Yeah. So let's now take a look at an example of a video that you produced. And so why don't you introduce...
Well, this particular video is that many businesses are using video where they're doing live action, and we do a lot of live action videos where we'll have a business owner in a video, and we will potentially have testimonials from their customers talking about the business, and it's really more of a branding piece. But in many cases, or in some cases, the business owner might not be comfortable being in front of a camera.
Right.
So in those particular cases, granted we're in the New York metropolitan area, there's a tremendous access to professional actors and actresses that can be hired to talk on your behalf. And so one of the types of videos we do are a spokesperson video where we will bring in a professional actor or actress. It will be scripted, they'll read from a teleprompter, and they can act on the behalf of your company and shoot typically in front of a green screen where we can then remove the background and add graphical elements or elements about the business or put them in a particular environment that they're not really in, kind of like what you see in special effects movies. And so this is an example of a spokesperson video where we have a woman, a professional actress, talking on behalf of a company.
Right. Okay, so Richard, if you could roll that Smith video clip and we can get it.
Finally landed that interview for the job you were hoping for. Yeah! Feels good, right? I could already see yourself working there. Big
So
desk.
this is an example of, and here you see an example of the woman in front of a, like she looks like she's in a corporate office space in front of a New York City background. And so we're, again, working with this professional actress. She's working from a teleprompter, and we're adding graphics to support the message here. This happened to be, in this case, more of a training video. So it's not a advertising piece, it's not a marketing piece, it was actually an internal video that was created by this business so that they could help and coach it was an executive search firm that was looking to coach their applicants so when they went into a job interview that they didn't actually trip over themselves and hurt themselves in actually winning that opportunity. So these are kind of training videos as opposed to going back to the conventional way, which might have been a written document or a PDF where they talk about bullet points. Here this actual actress is demonstrating some of the things that you should or shouldn't do. And actually, we heard back from this particular client that their candidates are loving this. So it's a great way for learning in this case. So it could be an educational video, could be used for educational purposes. It could be used for marketing purposes. There are a slew of techniques. It could be used as a sales video. It really has far-reaching opportunities.
And you were mentioning just a few minutes ago, David, about different so-called platforms, which basically means devices, whether it's the computer or a widescreen TV or a tablet or a mobile phone. And one of the statistics that you have on this very handy card that you were nice enough to give me is that 92% of mobile video viewers share the videos they watch, which goes back to what I was saying before. It's not just the person who received it from the point of origin,
correct,
but how then the recipient then sends it to other people, and then it keeps multiplying in that way. So now when you shoot a video, let's say like the one we just saw, where usually is the first place that it ends up? Is it on the client's website?
So because YouTube is the #2 search engine, and it is a video hosting site, and it is what's called responsive, it plays video really well on your laptop, on your desktop computer, your iPhone, your iPad. It's a great platform, and from the SEO, the search engine optimization standpoint, it helps make that video more visible. All of our videos are hosted on our client's YouTube channel, which is their YouTube account.
Right.
That video then could be embedded in a variety of platforms beyond the YouTube. So if you had a website, you would then take that video that's living on YouTube, get the search engine optimization benefit, but embed it in your website. So when someone comes to your homepage of your website, they will see that video there. They won't be going to YouTube. They'll actually see the video on their website, and they won't it will be just their video. It won't get anything else. You won't see those 9 little related videos that typically happen at the end, which is very important. You don't want someone to come to your website and then leave and go somewhere else.
Right.
So that's one benefit. The other benefit, that by just putting that video on their website becomes 53 times more likely to get found on the first page of Google.
Wow.
So we talked about briefly search engine optimization. Here's a great way. By just creating a video, you can boost the visibility of your website. Now, you were asking about how do you leverage that video. You can put it on your website, but there are a slew of social media platforms out there. You can share it through your Facebook account.
Right.
The #1 piece of content shared on Facebook is video.
Video, yep.
So you can do it that way. You can share it through your Twitter account. You can embed that video in your LinkedIn account. You can share it through your email marketing campaigns. Businesses today are doing a lot of email marketing. You can embed that video there. So there's the beautiful thing about video today is you can take that one piece of content and you can repurpose it through a variety of platforms where all of your different customers are going today.
Right, and it's like, it's as if video, in all these ways that you're describing, is a magnet, how it just draws people to it. So one of the statistics that companies use, and Google uses in its so-called analytics, all the statistical data that anybody who has a website wants to know, how many people came to my website, and where did they come from, how long did they stay there? And I know sometimes it could, people may be surprised to hear this if they don't run a website and just go to them. The average could be 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. The statistics show that the average time that someone spends on a website when doing a search, they will go to one of the search results and they'll spend actually no more than 59 seconds before going back to their search results and finding some other company.
Right.
By simply adding that video onto that web page, studies also show that effectively doubles the amount of time that someone will stay on your website. And the longer that someone stays, and the more engaged and trusting they become in your brand, the greater chances you have from getting that visitor to become actually a client.
Right.
And actually one stat that I think is also on that card is that when someone watches a video, they're 57% more likely to buy that product or service. Right. Because it's just so compelling.
And well, it's interesting too about the 60-second average that time somebody spends. It has a lot to do with it's a twitch reflex that people. It's almost like a mutation that's going on. Video games, are what's known as twitch reflex, with video games. And I think people in general now, they have shorter attention spans.
Yes.
The same thing applies for how long it takes for a website to load. I know I'm like that if a website is taking too long to load, I'm out of here. I'll go to someplace else.
And that's, again, the great concept behind always hosting your videos on YouTube, because the loading is all happening on their platform. So your website will not get a load time hit just because you've embedded a video.
So, I mean, it won't...
There's no hit whatsoever, because what happens is that video sits there as a thumbnail until you actually click the play button.
So it won't slow it down.
It won't slow it down.
That's an important point.
Absolutely, and people are turned off by that. If they try to go to a website and it's taking too long, they'll go back to the search results and go somewhere else.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely the case. So now, David, let's look at another example of the kind of video that you do or that a business could have that isn't necessarily live action even.
Exactly. So one thing that makes us fairly unique is that there isn't one style of video that works for every business.
Right.
Granted, when you're talking about a business that is a business professional, an attorney, a doctor, you're going to want to see them on camera.
Right.
But you might have a business that has a piece of technology. It might be a process that's really hard to explain in video or cost prohibitive to do, because if to do it live action would cost, $50,000 to $100,000. So an option that we present to businesses is what's called a whiteboard video or a 2D animation video, where instead of telling the story with, with cameras, doing it with artwork, we're doing it with illustrations. And so this example was done for a company that does digital signage that you see when you go to the DMV, when you go to the Department of Motor Vehicles and you're sitting there waiting to get your driver's license.
Right.
This was to help explain that process. So
okay, great.
We can take a look at that now.
Yeah, Richard, if you could roll that video.
Harder and harder to catch a customer's attention these days. You want your ad to get noticed, but how can you do that when there are distractions?
This is purposely sped up, right? You're trying to pack a lot of information.
Yeah, so this is roughly a 2-minute video, and we're trying to get a very complicated concept across in a very short period of time. And so we're trying to use these visuals to get across their idea in a creative way, in an engaging where someone, by watching and hearing what's said and some of the graphics that come up, they will actually get a clearer understanding of what the value proposition is of their product or service.
Right. And needless to say, a lot of work goes into doing that as well, even though you're not, recording live action on camera.
It can be involved because you are creating original. This is all created with original artwork with an artist, but it's very competitive to our live action. It's actually around, the same financial investment. So it's certainly a viable choice for businesses today.
Now, so let's say I'm a business that I'm watching this show right now.
Sure.
And I want to get more information. I'm interested, and I have a business location that maybe it's even a retail location.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the questions I would have is, okay, so you're going to bring your camera crew, your video crew to my place of business. How long are you going to be there, and how many people? Is there going to be cables all over the place?
So we work with a 2-man crew. Myself as a camera operator or cinematographer, and a director, my partner Neko Dekanich. And we will come and we will definitely do interviews, and we'll shoot what's called B-roll, which is kind of footage of them doing what they do and showing their space. But the one thing I want to point out is we never go to a business without being prepared. There are many companies out there that might say, sure, we'll come, we'll spend an hour and a half. We actually spend 3 to 4 hours when we do our shoots. But the point is that we can't show a business properly on film if we don't know it as well as they do.
Right.
And we want to be able to leverage their strengths as much as possible. So we always spend quite a bit of time before the cameras go rolling doing pre-production and looking at their website and speaking to the owner at length to understand their business. So what you see on the screen, what you see in the video, was actually very strategic in nature. And so we will spend 3 to 4 hours, and the great thing about that is that we end up having so much extra content that we can make that one video. And if a business is interested in making future videos, then in many cases another shoot isn't required. We can actually recut that content and take things that we never used and tell a shorter, more targeted story about their business, whether it might be about a product or a specific service that they have. So you can invest in video production once and actually get repeat opportunities of using it for a slew of reasons in your business.
Right. And in fact, I know that on your website, which I believe Richard was going to put on the screen anyhow, but is myvideoseopro.com, right?
That is correct.
And one of the things on your website, which I found very helpful, even in preparing for the interview, is that you list 9 steps, right, that basically comprises your process when working with a business.
Right, so we are unique, I don't remember if I mentioned this earlier, in that we're not just a video production company, we really see ourselves as a video marketing agency. And I say that because we take video and we develop strategies on how to leverage that as a sales tool for these businesses. Right. So it's not just creating it and putting it on their website, but actually coming up with a strategy. And much of that has to do with search engine optimization. So our process begins with what's called keyword analysis. So if you have a video, you talked about a bar earlier. Right. You know, you want to know what people, maybe that is a term that everyone's using. You want to find the most popular terms. Maybe the term is they're not looking for happy hour. They're just looking for, after work, cocktails, or they might be just looking for a pub, let's say, in White Plains or something to that effect. So we always surround the videos with keyword analysis because we want to create a piece of video content that we can position where people are looking. Right. Because you can make any kind of video, but if people aren't finding it online, then it's like you don't have the video.
Then it might as well not be there.
Right. You might as well not do it. So it's very important that we work with the business and we come up with a strategy based on that kind of information. So that's really where our process starts. And then from there, we do the video production, we do the video editing, we create the graphics and everything around that, and then continue with the marketing strategy, whether it's on some of the social media platforms.
Right. Well, as hard as it is for me to believe, and I was telling you this, this can happen on these shows. Richard just gave us the high sign. It's only 2 minutes left, so either somebody's clock is broken, or this interview has gone extremely fast, which doesn't surprise me at all because both of us love video and love talking about it, and like talking to each other. But we do want to make sure we mention before we have to wrap it up, David, about the workshops that you do.
Absolutely.
And I know you have one coming up. I'm not sure that he's able at this point to get up the slide, but you
can
tell people.
We do a workshop called How to Use YouTube to Grow Your Business. We've done it for several chambers of commerce. The graphic I think is up.
Okay, great. Thanks, Richard. Yeah.
It's Tuesday, January 27th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's being hosted by SCORE of Westchester, and it's being held at the Greenberg Public Library, which is in Elmsford. I can't read. I think it's 300 Tarrytown Road.
Tarrytown Road, yeah, 300 Tarrytown Road.
I go through some of the things we talked about here. It's basically educating people on how they can leverage this new medium, video, not a new medium, but it's now more accessible medium to help their business.
Right, and speaking of testimonials, I could vouch for your workshops because I've been, I've attended the workshop that you gave not long ago in Mahopac. It was excellent and very well attended.
Great.
So I could definitely recommend David's workshops. You'll not only learn a lot, but you'll have a lot of good cocktail party conversation about video and all those statistics that people really aren't aware of.
Absolutely.
And that they should know about. So I want to thank David Vogel, the president and co-founder of Video SEO Pro. And I think we already had put up your contact information if people want to get a hold of you, but they at least know the website. So for any further information, you can go to myvideoseopro.com. And thank you for watching Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog. And remember, when Bruce the Blog listens, people talk. Thank you.